The Swan Hellenic ship Minerva begins a 4-week cruise to South America from the Italian port of Naples. This is me, this is the ship, and this is the voice of our cruise camp commandant, Paul, addressing his internees.
Well, I'm sure that for those of you familiar with Minerva, you'll see some changes that have been undertaken during the last 2 weeks. And I'm sure you're all aware that the ship has, of course, been in dry dock just across the bay here in Naples for the last fortnight. And at present, we're anticipating our departure from Naples at 1800. However, there is some marine certification that needs to be completed, and so we may just have to be a little flexible on the departure time. But we will keep you advised. At present, ladies and gentlemen, it is our intention to depart at 1800. Now, a couple of things for you. First of all, afternoon tea is still being served in the veranda, which you'll find on bridge deck, and of course out by the pool as well on this lovely afternoon. Now, just a word about the main hold baggage. I stayed out at the airport with my colleagues until all the bags had been collected, and just been out on the bridge wing. It's already arrived at the ship's side.
The Italian job is heavily unionised, so it takes a flotilla of forklift trucks and a squadron of stevedores to move stores and baggage about the quayside and eventually onto the ship. Oh goody, my bag is there. Well, with that on board, we should be ready to leave. Eh, Captain?
The test is just drawing to an end now, so we expected to finish the testing in around about 1 hour's time. There is a slight wrinkle though, that because of the nature of our stay here, the port authorities have taken quite an interest, and they want to assure themselves that the ship is safe to proceed to sea also, and that process may take a couple of hours more. So at the moment we are looking at somewhere 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock before we can be ready to sail. Just please be assured that all of this is to ensure that the ship is leaving in a safe condition.
A slight hitch and a short delay, but I'm sure we'll be sailing soon. Let me show you my cabin. That's the little desk, that's the little sofa, and that's the big fat person in it. Who else tends to travel on Miss Minerva? I'll ask Steve, the hotel director.
Our average age of guest was 71 years old, so most of them are retired, but they are savvy travelers, well-traveled people. 99% of them are British. They know what they want. They don't want bells and whistles, they just want it done properly, quick, and professionally.
And as hotel director, that's Steve's job. Any news from the captain?
Paul's going to have a few words with you now as well.
We're moving, look, we're moving.
Well, again, we thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen.
We're moving.
And the first thing I'd like to say is, of course, that we are also giving thought to the remainder of the cruise and the possible itinerary options that are available to us.
Do you think this is just a trip around the bay?
And I'd also like to advise you all that after consultation with our directors at All Leisure and Swan Hellenic, I am pleased to inform you that it has been agreed and decided that for the remainder of the cruise, Minerva will be operating a free bar policy to all passengers on board. And so from here on in, ladies and gentlemen, all of the house spirits, beers, house wines and soft drinks, water, cappuccinos and coffees will be free of charge.
So we're finally underway, leaving Naples. A day and a half after schedule. But I think everybody's kind of happy because it's free drinks from now on. UP. Our first leg is to cross the Mediterranean to Malaga. Buoyed up by the booze and a good night's sleep sailing smooth seas, I am up early to see what facilities are to be found on board. On the funnel deck there is a small gym with run-down, clapped-out equipment for run-down, clapped-out cruisers. At least there are splendid sea views from the cycling machine. Pedal faster, man, or we'll never make Malaga in time for tapas. There's also a beauty centre, which offers pampering, perms and blue rinses. A month at sea and my hair could grow wild. Time to meet some fellow cruisers.
We always go to sunny destinations, so we enjoy the weather. enjoy the food, the entertainment, the lectures, especially on something like Swan Hellenic, and going to places where I might not necessarily go.
The whole point was that of doing the Swan Hellenic was that it was a small ship with a small amount of people, country house hotel atmosphere. When we booked it, we booked the lowest cabin in the bowels of the ship next to the engine room, with no porthole or anything. And James, bless him, as a surprise, decided to upgrade us. So we now not only have a balcony, we also have the largest balcony on the ship, which has been a blessing. I was horrified by the age. Oh well, the average age apparently is 74.
I'm actually 88. I don't think I'm the oldest man on the ship yet. And my wife and I, in August, said that I said to her, look, we've never been beyond the Orinoco. Let's go and see Buenos Aires before we die. And so, to cut a long story short, that's why we're here.
I think I've done 8.5 times around the world, and you'll always come across something you haven't seen before, and it's good, it's a challenge.
This is my 4th cruise for Minerva, although this is a different ship than we've been on in the past. It's like a little village, and they accommodate me as a single passenger, and I can relate better to the people who are on this ship than I could on a big, huge shopping mall ship.
I first worked in Palma, Mallorca many years ago for Warner's Holidays, and I was the nurse for the company, but I also did reception work. And even worked with a magician as a magician's assistant.
Did you get cut in two?
Yes. This girl's been around a bit.
Well, so room, I had it on the A deck.
You put one colour down, and in this case I want you to put the first colour down you put in before.
Minerva has no shows, no bingo, no discos, and no kids. Instead, passengers are kept amused, informed, interested, and occupied by a weighty curriculum of classes, talks and lectures.
In the mixing tray, mixy, 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 mixy. Whatever you do, don't try and brush the extra wet in, just touch it on the surface and it will steal it from your brush. So you get a really good, what the chemists call slurry.
Peter Welton conducts a popular daily painting class.
Not wet enough. Whatever you do, don't try and brush the extra wet in, just touch it on the surface and it will steal it from your brush.
Apparently, keeping your bristles moist is an absolute must.
Natural way of watercolour paint behaving. That's the way it works, that's how it is. And then I want you to lay down another square. Eventually what we're aiming to produce is a kind of quilt.
The speakers can bring a partner with them, but they too are asked to work their passage.
You're in for a treat. I can hear you all squealing with delight at this.
Let's meet Anne Heap, whose husband Peter is one of the guest speakers.
Partners of the speakers have a not very onerous role of being a librarian and helping with the library, which is rather fun because it's you around books, and books are nice, and you kind of discover good things to read before anyone else does. I have a lot of energy and do a lot of things, so I'm not very good at sitting still. So I enjoy that role.
Apart from the bars, the library is the hub of social life and always a riot of wild activity. Pages are sometimes turned at a furious pace, and the jigsaw ladies can become quite feral if too distracted.
Now look at that lady's 3 pieces together.
Puzzles are provided to keep nimble fingers busy and give insomniacs something to wake up for. The single Scrabble set is in much demand. Its devotees noted for their raucous all-night sessions. Pamela is the ship's card shark.
This is a very, very difficult patience. 2 packs, and it was taught to me by one of the bridge players here, and I'm now booked. There's another one. The night I played it till about I don't know what sort of time in the morning, and I haven't had it out yet. But this is the time. You wait.
Another night of solitary confinement for patient Pam.